All right, we are now live. So, hello and welcome to those of you joining us just a few minutes early. My name is Charlotte. I'll be your Money Show host for this session. We will begin the next presentation on time at 10:40 a.m. That is Eastern Time, coming up in just a few short minutes. Thank you so much for your patience, and I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Welcome in. Hello to those of you who are just joining us. This is your Money Show host speaking. We will be getting started here in just a couple of short minutes. Thank you all so much for your patience. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the session. I'm pleased to introduce Wieland Alt. He's a professional trader, best-selling author, a world traveler, and he's serving as president of the International Federation of Technical Analysts. Now, Wieland aims to support traders in achieving their financial goals in a self-determined way while trading successfully on financial markets in the long term. Now, to our live viewers, please share any questions that you may have throughout this session in the live chat box. You can find that on the right-hand side of the platform there next to your video player. And with that all said, Wieland, I will hand the mic over to you. I'll be here if you need me, but the floor is all yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Money Show team, for having me. It's this great event. Once again, I'm very honored, very blessed to be here and share some thoughts together with you, with the whole audience of moneyshow.com. Yeah, everybody knows right now AI is up and running. I mean, the whole stock market, if you look at the NASDAQ, is just driven by AI. And now the question arises, so if everybody uses AI, if we all use the same tools, what still matters to make really a distinction? So what is really our edge as traders, as analysts, when everybody has access to all the same tools, same ideas, and also to the same code? So where is the human edge? Before I start, just a quick introduction upon the short introduction here from Money Show. So I'm a CFTE author, international speaker, the president of the International Federation of Technical Analysts, and I'm the founder of Elite Trading Experts, which is an institution for certification of trading experts on a global scale. So yes, I'm working with technical analysis, but of course, professional decision making and also how to use AI as a trader, as an analyst in our days markets, in this days markets. That's one or some of the fields I'm just working on in this very moment. So saying that, let's start with one of the biggest questions we might have. And this one is, like the new reality. So what is the new reality we are in? First of all, the financial industry has changed dramatically. I mean, we all know about this. We see this every day. We see that, first of all the topics which are traded are mostly, especially in the NASDAQ 100, they're driven by AI. Everybody is looking at them. We're looking at semiconductors for producing these chips. Every AI and every company needs to get things running, but also we are looking at these stocks and companies as well, like OpenAI, which has postponed their IPO. But so what do we have access to apart from what we are trading? But what can we use nowadays in comparison to what have been there like years ago? Now, nowadays, everything from my point of view, is very democratized. So this means we have all the availability to all the tools usually just professionals had back in the days, like professional trading platforms, AI-powered market analysis. And yes, AI has been there already long before we had access to it. Quantitative research, global market data. Back then, I remember, maybe you do too, that like a Bloomberg terminal was almost impossible to get our fingers on, or at least the information. Yes, you can, of course, you can subscribe, but you have to pay a fortune for it. Advanced charting software used to be just for the super professionals, but not for individuals, not for retail, not for the everyday investor, the everyday trader. But now everything changes. So access right now to all of this is not an advantage. It's just common sense. It's available literally to everyone. So the question here is, if everyone has access to the same technology, why are the results still so different? And this is something we always need to consider. We always have to think about, because if you look a couple of decades before today, there was an experiment. Maybe you know about this. It's called the Turtle Experiment. And this was about an idea that, well, two very well-known traders, they were almost having a bet about the question, can we educate average people, just regular, normal guys, to become traders? And they tried it. So they educated a bunch of traders, a bunch of people becoming traders with the same rules, with the same strategies, with the same markets. And guess what happened? Given all the same strategies, all the same rules, all the same markets, yet they had different outcomes. Why is that? Why are the results still different? Because technology, just the knowledge itself, just the strategy, just the same market, just the same rules, they are never the real edge. So what is the real edge? So what really makes a difference? And that's the question that changed the way that I look at our profession. So also there's a false assumption in the markets. Because the assumption is that better technology doesn't automatically create better traders. Usually you feel like, okay, we need to have a second, third, fourth, fifth screen. Maybe we need another software, we need another strategy, we need to be closer to the exchange with our computers. But is this really the truth? Yes, we get maybe better tools, but can we do really make better decisions? Or may it become worse? Maybe we have too much information, right? So what really makes the difference? From my point of view, it's discipline, it's risk awareness, it's emotional control, and it's judgment. Because tools, they don't create professionals, but people do create professionals. We create ourselves being professionals. And that is something worth to think about a bit. Now, let's understand the disciplines we are working in. So every analytical discipline answers a different question. So if we understand those questions, the first step toward making better decisions, that's what we need to do. So different questions, different strengths. And here's what I mean. We talk about the wrong things. We discuss the same questions maybe, but we always need to think about what kind of approach, which approach is better. Is it fundamental analysis? Is it technical analysis? Or maybe we just switch over to AI, to the artificial intelligence. And I don't think that really is the right question because, yes, you can say, okay, fundamental analysis is the best, or technical, or artificial. And for sure, I might say, yes, it's TA, it's technical analysis. As the president of IFTA, I'm supposed to say that, right? But that's not the right question. The real question is, what does each discipline contribute to us? Now, let's have a brief look to the fundamental analysis. So this one helps us to understand value, which brings us to typical questions like, what is changing in the industry? What is changing in the company, in the market? What is changing in the economy? Why is it changing? So we need to understand why things are happening. So why is inflation going up? Okay, maybe because oil price rises, right? So that's why. What is it worse? So how does the price of the company or how does the economy changes? And what could happen because of that? So let's say you look at Apple and you see that at Apple they have a new product and you feel like, okay, why is the product? Okay, it's a new invention. What is it worth? Billions and trillions. So what could happen? Obviously, price might rise, right? So how will this affect the price? It's the last question we ask with fundamental analysis. So what we are looking at with this is the bigger picture. But with technical analysis, it helps us to understand market behavior. And usually we ask things like, what is happening right now with the price? What's happening here at this area where the price right sits? Who is in control? Buyers, sellers, so who is stronger, who is weaker? Where are probabilities changing? So where might the buyers lose control and power and the sellers take over or vice versa? And what is the market doing in this very moment? Or what might happen next when the price changes? So with technical analysis, we are looking at behavior. And now you can imagine if you combine both as an investor, that makes perfectly sense because it definitely makes a difference if you buy Nokia, if you can remember that one, or Apple as an investor. It makes a difference, right? But if you're just going short term, you might be a little bit overwhelmed by all the data if you look at a 1 minute chart. So technical analysis might help you more. And using this is already some kind of judgment. So it gives you a better view to the market depending on, well, the field you're working in and the kind of investment or trading style you use. So that's the point with human judgment. So technology just provides us information, but we provide the context as people. Yes, you can get all the data, you can get all the information you want just from the machine, from AI, from all your tools. You can have like 10 Bloomberg terminals right next to you. But if you're at a 1 minute chart, wow, it's too much. But it may be not enough if you go for deep investment, investing millions into one company. You want to need a lot about the company to make the right decision. So therefore, yes, we provide the context. The judgment turns the information into action, but the information is just like that. It's the information. So this is where people still matter, at least. But there's more. Yes, there's an advantage for the machines. So what do they brilliantly? Obviously, they outperform us in many areas. Of course they do. Calculations within a second. We just try to think about what we need to calculate, but the machine already does the job. But that's not a threat. Actually, it's a support. Yes, I know, it happens once in a while that we forget how to calculate in our heads. But this is happening already for decades, as we already have our calculators in our hands, right? So that's not really a threat. It's a reality. It's a new reality, and we have to face it. We have to respect this. So before we criticize what machines do, we need to respect what they do, and we need to ask ourselves, how can we use this in a proper way? Because machines are very good when it comes to processing data, when it comes to finding patterns, when it comes to applying rules. Because yes, as traders, I know applying rules is one of the hardest things. Finding patterns, all right, I can see that I'm a technical analyst, I'm looking at the chart, I know what's going on, and I can figure out what might happen. But hey, maybe I'm a little bit too impatient. Maybe I want to just jump in right now. But if you go with the rules, if you're a machine, just follow the rules no matter what. You wait for the last point, for the last second of the 60 minutes chart, it's a 60-minute chart for the candle to finish, and then to make a decision, right? As a trader, you might just jump in because you feel like, I already know what's going on. It might be an advantage for you, but usually it's a trading mistake, right? So that's what machines are good at. They can work consistently, 24/7. So if you trade like crypto and you have an EA, like an expert advisor running, he can do the job all over. But is this really an advantage? Or does the machine just execute every signal, no matter if it's really worth the risk or not? But yes, the machines, they remove emotional bias. And this is something which is really, really, really important, because as human beings, we might try to open a trade and then we have doubts about it. I feel like, is this really the true thing now? Because I just read somewhere headlines that the President Trump, he just made some kind of comment, and maybe I don't buy or maybe I don't sell because of that. But the machine, it just goes with the code. And well, it doesn't complain, it doesn't think, it just does. So we shouldn't compete with the machines, but we should learn from them. But yeah, of course, it's kind of dangerous as well, because the conclusion might be, if machines analyze better, do people really still matter? And that's some kind of idea of, hey, now we're talking Cyberdyne, right? Now we're talking Terminator. But no, that's not the point. Because analysis is only one part of the decision making. Just information alone has never created excellence. It always needs the human factor to create excellence. Now, as a world traveler, and as I'm talking with a lot of experts and a lot of analysts, traders, investors around the world, I can tell you one thing. Yes, we all speak about trading, but we speak about different markets, we speak about different methods, different personalities, and yet many ideas kept coming back. Basically, yes, we talk about different things, but not really. We also talk about a lot of common things. Basically, in the markets, we all do the same, but we come from a different angle with a different view. But the decision to buy or to sell quite often is the same, but we explain it on a different way. So yes, patterns, they don't exist only in markets. They exist also in people. We all do the same, but we come from different views of of analysis. And there's a quote, or a friend of mine, a quant analyst, Giovanni Trombetta from Italy, and he said, the human is always at the top of the pyramid. This comes, by the way, from an interview I had with him in one of my podcasts. And what is the idea? The human is always at the top of the pyramid. It says that artificial intelligence supports decisions, but it doesn't replace responsibility. Judgment remains human. But there's another question. If humans remain responsible for decisions, then the next question is obvious. What determines the quality of those decisions? And this is where Roman Bogomazov, another friend of mine from San Francisco, is coming into place. And he said, trading is a mirror of yourself. And also you can listen to that one in the podcast. Trading is the mirror of yourself. So what does this mean? It means that the market exposes more than just technical mistakes. It reveals our habits, our emotions, and decision patterns. The greatest challenge isn't reading just the chart. The greatest challenge is reading yourself as a human being and also as a trader. So trading is the mirror of yourself. Now, what does this mean in general for us? Basically, we have an addiction. Maybe you know about this. It's a certainty addiction. Most traders are looking for certainty. Professionals, as I know, over the time, professionals know it doesn't exist. There is no certainty. There is no certainty in life, but especially there's no certainty in the markets. So that's a difference. Most people are looking for that, but no, it doesn't exist. That's the difference. So the search for certainty is often the most expensive trade because we hope, but we don't know. But still we believe in certainty. And that's sometimes where we feel like, okay, maybe we are sitting on a wrong conclusion. Now, how do we continue? How to integrate intelligently what we are talking about. So artificial intelligence has remarkable strengths, and so do we. So the future isn't about choosing one over the other. It's about combining both. Like having this presentation in my head, but still doing the writing with ChatGPT. So it's an intelligent integration. It's about combining both. The strongest professionals combine both. And most traders I know around the world, they do exactly this. They use the machines for getting better insights, but they never let the machine do the judgment. So this is some kind of matrix we can figure out because of that. So we have, with AI, we have processed information, it finds patterns, it calculates probabilities, it executes consistently, and it never gets tired, which is good in a certain way. But maybe as a human being, you can create context. Maybe you feel like it's not so clever to trade outside of market hours, which is possible with the futures, but maybe it's not what you want to do. But the machine, if you don't stop it, it just keeps on running. And the moment you stop it, it's human judgment and human action, period. Human judgment is that we recognize change, maybe earlier from our experience, and the machine right now, in this very moment, might be able to. We can make decisions. We can take over, and we need to take over responsibility, because guess what? Most people, they try to delegate responsibility to the machine. And then they feel like, hey, I couldn't do anything. It's just my computer. My computer just did the trade. I have nothing to do with it. But it's not true. You do, because you enable the machine. You enable the EA. You enable, well, you enable the computer. You enable everything to take over your trades. You program it like this. So it's your responsibility. And yes, we also need to look over the results. We need to control the machine as well. So that's part of the responsibility. So yeah, the human being is above everything, on top of the pyramid. And yes, humans know when to adapt. When things change, the machine keeps on running unless it's really self-learning, but it might take a while. But we know when to adapt. We know when the market conditions change. We know when things go sideways, when things go down. And it's not easy for the machine to see this because if we don't program it, it will not know it. So yes, technology expands capability, but human judgment creates the advantage. Now, what's the next edge? So how to continue with this? So the next edge for all of us won't come from another indicator. And I know most traders, they are looking for exactly this, like another indicator, some secret, another hidden gem, or just another AI tool or another algorithm. And I've been to presentations just like 2 weeks ago. There was one speaker talking about he has a system with 1 million trading strategies going on. And the algorithm just creates new and tests it and trades. But it will always come from people who know how to combine them, because that's the job also of these guys who are doing trading with the algorithms, to watch the algorithm, to change the algorithm. So yes, the algorithms, the AI might be very important and helpful, but still it's a human sitting behind the screen and watching everything. So technology is available, but judgment is earned because you need to know what you're doing. Still watching the machine, still watching AI, still watching a program, still watching the algorithms, but still you need to know what you're looking at. You need to know how to change things. You need to know what is going right, what is going wrong, and what needs to be reviewed and adjusted. And therefore, I have some final thoughts here. So yes, markets remain adaptive, emotional, competitive, uncertain, and they remain deeply human. Because after all, markets are driven by humans. Yes, I know we have these computers doing all the scalps, all the very high-speed trading thing, but at the end of the day, some human being had installed every part of the software somewhere in the world. So yes, artificial intelligence will continue to evolve. Right now, I like to say luckily for us, because it helps a lot. And we also will evolve. Maybe faster, maybe slower, but we will evolve, we will adapt, and we will always be on top of the pyramid. So the human edge begins where technology means human judgment. Now, to close it, technology expands capability. Human judgment creates advantage, and together they create the human edge. If you'd like to get in contact, just reach out to me, LinkedIn or Instagram, and you can also find there my podcast where you can learn more about the interviews, about Roman or also Giovanni. Thank you so much. I'm open for questions. I think we have a couple of minutes left, so I'm always happy to discuss. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. And we do have a few minutes left here. And I have a question in the chat from Eddie. He was asking about SK Hynix. He wants to know if you think you'll trade that tomorrow.
Again, please.
It's SK Hynix, I think it is. HYNIX. He's asking if you think you'll trade that tomorrow.
I'm not into that one right now. So actually, I cannot answer that question.
Hey, I say that's a good enough answer for me.
Yeah, it's very specific, actually.
Yes. Well, we have another question here from Tony, and he's asking, what AI do you use the most?
Actually, my best friend right now is ChatGPT, as I don't do really the programming. So I know a lot of people go over to Claude when it comes to programming, but I'm more into conceptual work and working with ChatGPT quite intensively. So all this one, actually, I combined both. For the layout, I used Claude, but for all, getting all my thoughts into text, I use ChatGPT. So that's my friend.
Well, thank you for answering that. And we'll give the audience here just a moment to catch up, see if we have any other questions coming
Mhm.
in. And
Yeah.
in the meantime, I know you're constantly traveling around. You do a lot of these types of presentations across the
Yeah.
globe, don't you? What are some frequently asked questions that you've been receiving lately?
Usually it's like, people are feeling now we have the golden age that everything has been taken over by the machine and we get all rich. And this is something which people are thinking always when something new comes up. And that's why I really love the example of the turtle trader experiment because it was perfectly fine what humans really do. So if I would present one simple strategy to all of us, the whole audience, and then I would track how they use it, I'm pretty sure we would have like a countless amount of different variations of one and the same strategy. So therefore, even though we have the same tools, even though we might have the same codes and EAs, we always would feel like, okay, I could do it better a bit. And people try to get a little bit faster, slower, whatever. So they humans tend to interact. And I think on the human level, for human to human, that's good because otherwise we would be very, let's say, lonely. But when it comes to systems, we also try to interact, and that's not always the best idea, actually. So if there are rules, if we have a strategy that's working well, why not just follow it? And I think that's something where we always need to, adapt a bit.
Well, thank you. And that was actually perfect timing. We have another message here from Mr. Shams. He's asking, do you
Awesome.
trade mostly US stocks or much European as well?
I go with the indices. Mostly I go short term or mid term. So on an intraday basis, I love to go with the Nasdaq, but also with the Dow Jones. Not so much with the S&P 500, and I know most do it differently. But the reason is simple. If the S&P 500 is running, that's because of the Nasdaq. So I can go with the Nasdaq anyway, and that's one point. Actually, European markets a lot of times, and I'm looking at the DAX, it's not really moving fast or moving like big like the US indices. So I love to go with the futures, and usually I go with the US. But it depends on the time zones actually. When I'm in Asia, I return to Europe with the indices.
Well, Vilan, thank you so much for a fantastic presentation. I'm glad that we got those questions answered as well. Looks like we are all caught up now. So unless there's anything else you'd like to share in the final couple of minutes we have, I'd say we're good to wrap up.
Well, actually, I'm good. Once again, I like to thank you for having me and hoping to return back on a physical stage. So looking for that one and hope to see you all around there as well. Last time I've been in Las Vegas, but it's been a while. So looking forward for that. And yeah, all the best. Enjoy the event, the conference, and see you next time. Thanks.
Well, thank you kindly. And a big thank you from us at Money Show to those of you watching us live as well. And as Vilan said, be sure to stay tuned. We have a lot more in store for you today in this Money Show Virtual Expo. I hope everyone has a terrific rest of your day. Take care.